When you put all the mental illnesses together, they account for roughly 15% of the total global burden of disease. There are nearly 400 to 500 million people living on our tiny planet who are affected by a mental illness.
1 out of 17 people in this country has a serious mental illness. Less than a third of them come in for treatment.
1 out of every 4 people will experience a mental illness, but a serious mental illness is defined in someone who is 18 or older who has a diagnosable disorder specified in the DSM-4, with the exception of V codes and substance abuse disorders, unless they co-occur with another illness. Serious mental illnesses include major depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, OCD, PTSD, and borderline personality disorder.
That the vast majority of these affected individuals do not receive the care that we know can transform their life.
Two-thirds of those people who qualify for our services can't get it because there's not enough resources there. That directly leads to homelessness. Over the last 3 years, the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services has had $30 million ripped out of our treatment system.
21% of people in Oklahoma who are homeless suffer from severe mental illness, which, remember, does not include substance abuse.
We have to decide, do we want to continue to pay our tax dollars to clean up the consequences of untreated mental illness and addiction? Or do we want to invest our dollars more wisely and make sure that Oklahomans have the access to health care in the first place so that they can continue to hold down their job, continue to help support their family, and never get to this point in the first place?
Oklahoma is not an outlier. The National Alliance on Mental Illness in 2009 gave America's mental health system a D rating. When state budgets across the country have needed trimming in recent years, mental health services have often been among the first to go. Currently, several senators and congresspeople are using the angle of gun control to bring attention to the funding of mental health care.
That's a lot of people who ostensibly aren't allowed to purchase guns, but because they've never entered the system, there's no record of them, and therefore they can.
The tragedy in Aurora, Colorado, another deranged individual. And what it says to me is we need to spend more money, not less money, on mental health issues. There are a lot of mentally disturbed people out there who need mental health treatment, and this Congress has been cutting funds for mental health and for clinics and for health care. There are cuts that can be made to protect our country's fiscal health, but to protect our nation's physical health, some funds need to be maintained.
Suicide is at the top of the list of the leading causes of death in young people in all countries of the world, including the poorest countries of the world.
There's no downside to the need to bring the mental health care in this country up from being at the bottom of the barrel where it is. Mental health care in 2012, between the lack of priority, the idea of prevention is almost non-existent.